When this Jayadratha tried to abduct her and she was saved by her husbands, she could have asked them to kill him, but she did not let them do that because she knew his Dushyala's husband. She practiced restraint over there.
The first lesson that came to me is that we all are living in this illusion that we are in control, that things are in our control. But when something like a death or a big illness or an accident or a setback at office or heartbreak or any of these things happen, all these illusions break, they are shattered.
Let there be faith in your heart, not just in the divine, but in yourself. Let there be fire in your soul, the fire to dream, to achieve, to become. There is nothing wrong with burning bright. Draupadi did not just survive her circumstances, she transformed them. So can we. Before we start our session, I would like to give a heartfelt thank to ICF team and Garuda Life and Sangam Talks for inviting us here to such an engaging gathering. Thank you so much.
So you all know that's Anuradha and I'm Aarti Pathak. It's a very happy coincidence for me to know that she's an army wife because I'm also from the army background. We have 4 generations from the Indian Army, so I'm feeling very sisterly right now. It's from the same family.
3 cheers to sisterhood.
Yes, 3 cheers. Anuradha has been teaching English across apps for the past 20 years. And what apps are these? These are the original apps, the Army Public Schools. And for me, English teachers have a very special place in my heart because when I was a young girl and I would scribble and write a few things, it was the English teachers who pushed me and encouraged me and said, Aarti, good job. And today I'm a writer. Who knew that a teacher's encouragement would lead me to where I am today? And of course,
thank you so much.
And of course, she's an author of 4 books. We've already known of them. She's been inspired by Ramayana and Mahabharata. And then her latest book is The Essence of Draupadi. So, if I may ask you, what drew you to Draupadi? How did you learn so much about her? And can you explain to us how she remains so relevant even today?
I've been reading since childhood. Obviously, I started very young. And I think before I started reading books, I think our grandmothers and mothers have always been telling us stories from Mahabharata and Ramayana. And somehow I got more, inclined towards Mahabharata. And I was mesmerized with Draupadi's character since childhood. And when I started reading, apart from, I think, Asterix and Archies and Tintin, I was also reading illustrated books of Ramayana and Mahabharata. And again, Mahabharata was my favorite. And then when I got into serious reading, I read, when I was in college, I read Kisari Mohan Ganguly's first English translation of Mahabharata. And it really opened my eyes towards all the characters of Mahabharata and obviously Draupadi. Even I should tell you one more book. There is a book called Mrityunjay, which is in Marathi language. I, being a Marathi, I also read a lot of Marathi books. It is by Shivaji Sawant, a classic. It's a classic. And it revolves around Karna, but again, Draupadi was there. So it really, piqued my, curiosity. And from then, I think Draupadi was always with me. And I thought of writing more about Draupadi. And I always felt her very relevant. Be it whatever, she has been there so many thousands of years ago, but she has always been relevant. She's a fireborn, daughter of King Drupad. And Drupad actually wanted only a son, Drushtadimna, but Draupadi came. And so I think the humiliation in the Sabha, that was one a life-changing thing for her and for everybody in the Kuru Sabha. And but she resisted, she challenged, she asked, who did you lose first? It was you yourself or you lose me first? That was her question. She did not quietly just submitted herself to whatever was happening. And she was the one who actually saved all the Pandavas. When before she asked for Krishna's blessing over her to rescue her, she was resisting, she was challenging. And then when everything was taught by Dhritarashtra, the blind king Dhritarashtra, She was the one who saved everybody. She said, "Ki, please release everybody from this servitude." But again there was this Yudhishthir who again sat for the game, and then they had to go to exile. Then she again had a chance to go back to her, Dwarka or to King Drupad. But she chose to keep her sons, they were already born, to away from her, and she went with them to the forest, with her husbands to the forest. And why she chose to be with them? Because she did not wanted them to forget what has happened with her, what has happened with them. She always was igniting, kindling fire in their hearts that they have to get everything back. So I feel that's why she is very relevant. And when this Jayadratha tried to abduct her, and she was saved by her husbands, she could have asked them to kill him, but she did not let them do that, because she knew his Dushala's husband. She practiced restraint over there. And then when they were in that exile, in incognito mode, when Kichak tried to threaten her, at that time she knew, she had presence of mind, whom to call. I think that is very important in our life, whom to call, when, where to practice restraint, where to go back. She was working as Sairandri, a maid to the queen, Virata's queen. And she called Bhima. She knew because Yudhishthir and Arjuna would never come. So she called Bhima to save her. So all these things, I feel they are very relevant in today's world. She practiced compassion, she practiced restraint, she had presence of mind, she had all those qualities which are needed in our today's world, where we all modern women, we all need all these things. So that's why I found her very relevant, and she can be very inspiring for us.
Actually, that's beautifully explained. I had not, of course, I've always admired Draupadi, but the way you have listed all these qualities, they are qualities we all need today.
Yeah, but I must ask you one thing. That, dear audience, I must tell you that Aarti, but obviously you know that she's author of Triple Negative, but she has also been a columnist for a long time, 20 years. She has been writing for the defense magazine Salute. She has been an editor. Then she has been a social media consultant. Aarti, and then you started writing this book, which was so personal. So how this transition helped you? How was it? Was it the writing very healing to you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Actually, yes, writing is cathartic for me, and I discovered this nature of writing right at the beginning of my journey when I started writing my first few articles as an author. Most of my writing has been non-fiction, and often it covers chapters of my life that have seen intense pain. But once I had thought it out, written it, edited, sent it for publication, read it once it got published, once I'd gone through that, I found the pace was softening. The grip that it used to have on me was no longer there. And that's when I found that writing can liberate me. And for context, here I'll tell, you must have seen the video, but I used to think I'm the weakest person that I knew. And I suddenly lost my mother to COVID, and a few hours later, I found out that I have cancer. So the old Aarti would have thought, you cannot handle these things. You would have just died when you heard the news. But here I am, living the most unafraid version of myself, and it all came through the journey that I went through, and writing was an important part of this journey, because not just did I heal while I was writing, but also it prevented me from turning into a victim. I wasn't in the situation with things happening to me. I was outside it as an observer, as a witness to somebody else's story and writing about it. So I found that liberating.
That's really great. Beautiful.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I have felt that somewhere believing in yourself is also important. Yes. So you have read our scriptures with a lot of depth, and you have read about Draupadi. So do you also feel that believing in ourselves is also a form of faith?
Yes, of course, absolutely. Believing in ourselves is a form of faith. During the Mahabharata time or the Vedic time, you can say that, faith is external. You bow to the divine. But I think faith is all around us. Faith is inside us. It is our inner voice, which is, I think, should be the brightest. So yes, if I talk in the context of Draupadi, Draupadi has always used her inner voice. She has always been very tough. It can be her humiliation in the Sabha. It can be her, abduction by, like I told you, this one, Jayadrat, or it can be Kichak. She has always been very, self-reliant. She has obviously taken the help of Krishna. Krishna. She has always believed in Krishna, but Krishna is, I think, her expansion. He has been metaphoric to her. Krishna and Krishna. Krishna used to call her Krishna. He was also the dark one, and she was also the dark one. So they used to like they were like you know like of each other. They were of each other. So yes, believing in yourself is obviously is, I think, part of divine. It is divine grace which is inside us, and that we have to use to the utmost. Aarti, I have a question for you. Aarti, you are such a lively person, always smiling, active, and reservoir of positivity. But when it came to your most difficult time, where did you turn to? Your faith, people, or your inner voice?
Okay, that's a very deep question. So my strength didn't come from only one of these things. For me, I needed all three. The faith, I needed my family and support, and my inner voice. And I'll explain how. Of course, we have faith in God. But when you go through something difficult, you want God also to be there for you. And I get emotional when I say, but when I was going through, I'm sorry, I'm not crying because I'm sad. I have tears because I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. So, coming back to the faith, why I teared up is because when all this was happening to me, not just did I feel that I have faith in God, I felt that my devatas, they honored that faith in me. They made sure that through the days and years and through the weeks and the months, I felt their presence all around me in the form of tiny and large miracles all around me. Whether it's a vision that I had or a thought that I had. So of course, I'm broken and I'm heartbroken, I'm grieving and the shock of cancer. And then the chemotherapy totally breaks you in every way. All that is happening. But in that storm, that awful storm, I felt I'm being held by my devatas and I'm being carried.
Yeah. And I think people, everything must have been there for you.
And yes, I don't think I would have survived a day without the support of my caring friends, my loving family, and in my family, most of all, the seva and the care that my husband did, which is nothing short of devotion. And at the end of it, I also had an inner voice that told me that, we all think we are weak, but when life hits us, then our primal survival instinct come to the fore. And I said, fine, this has happened, that has happened, cancer ho gaya, chemo chalega. I will give it my best shot. I will go through. So the kind of cancer that I had was very aggressive, which means that the treatment also had to be aggressive. So every month, people have to take chemos for 8 months. But I had to take chemo every week and 16 back-to-back weeks. So and also much more stronger kind of it, that it can break you. But I said, fine, I'll do it. I'll do it joyously. And then we'll see what happens. So this experience brought me to the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Karma karo. Fal ki chinta mat karo. So I found that liberating.
My book, The Essence of Draupadi, actually the premise of the book is that Draupadi's DNA is still in Indian soil. It is amongst all of us. Yeah. And I've written 12 stories about women from different walks of life, and who they go and watch Draupadi's play from her point of view, Mahabharata from her point of view. And they have all of us have some or the other problem in our lives. So also these heroines, these common women from different walks, they also have. But when they see the play, they get inspired by her, and they go back to their own lives and solve the problem. I feel Aarti is the embodiment of all that.
I have been reading some of your works, and I can tell that you have done a lot of in-depth reading. And there was a question that came to me again and again, yes. And I'll ask you. There were a lot of lessons that have come to Devi Draupadi. But somewhere I felt also that she teaches us to unlearn from the past.
Very true.
Is it?
Yes, very true. There's learning and there's unlearning. I think history teaches us that only, that we have to learn and unlearn. In Draupadi's life, memory has been very strong, that she could not forget. Obviously, she cannot forget the humiliation that she had. She cannot forget that she lost her Indraprasth. It is said that Draupadi, obviously she was the chief queen, so she was, the one who was looking after the kitchens and all. But she was also very instrumental in making those, beautiful gardens and all that Maya made. Mayasur made. So she was the one who was detailing him what he has to do and all. So that Indraprasth was so close to her heart, and she had to lose that. She had to lose everything. She had to be away from her sons and all. But still, but even after doing all those things, she resisted, she challenged, she did not, let things go just like that. She did not allow her husbands to, forget everything. So if she was, her marriage, her, polyandrous marriage to the five princes, Pandav princes, she could not stop that. She had to, that is, I think, I feel like patriarchal conditioning that Kunti made her do that. She could not stop that. But obviously, she unlearned. What she unlearned, that she cannot be quiet. She has to constantly keep asking questions. She had to keep working. She had to be always, asking question is not just rebellious or rude. One has to ask questions if injustice is happening. In the Kuru Sabha, her in-laws and everybody, so many wise men and so many elderly men were sitting, but she did not stop herself from asking questions. So all these things we have to, that is unlearning only. For her time, this is all unlearning. And we can also follow the same thing. We do not have to, go injustice, go just like that. If a boss is asking us something that we have to, okay, I will do it. You do not have to do that. That is, I think, unlearning. Because as children, we are taught that don't ask questions, you have to follow your elders. But I don't think so that in every case, you have to do that. So Draupadi has taught, I think, that to us, that this is learning is also there and unlearning is also there. We have to learn both.
Very true. And she had a very challenging life. Yeah.
Now I have a question. Now, Aarti, your journey has been nothing short of a roller coaster, isn't it? Life has given you a very tumultuous journey. And you have emerged not just a survivor, but a true winner from all of that. So I know that your book captures this journey very well, in depth. But can you just give us a bit that what did you learn from your journey? And can you give us some advice also about it?
Oh, so this journey that I had lasting about 6 months to 1 year, it taught me lessons of a lifetime. And so that is why my book is full of all the big and small things that I kept learning. But two of the major lessons are coming to me right now, and I'll share those with you. The first lesson that came to me is that we all are living in this illusion that we are in control, that things are in our control. But when something like a death or a big illness or an accident or a setback at office or heartbreak or any of these things happen, all these illusions break. They are shattered.
Yes.
And they shattered for me also. And I realized that I am not in control of anything. That's the illusion that I'm carrying. And knowing that I don't have to carry the responsibility, the same karma theory, it relieved me. I became unburdened and I became free. So in that difficult time, I wasn't carrying the burden of becoming okay. I was carrying just the responsibility of doing my work. So letting go of this feeling of control. And the other thing was an unexpected lesson that came to me. When you're facing death, and at that time, I was surrounded by the energy of death. I had lost my oldest relationship, my soulmate, my mother, who was my life. I spoke to her so many times a day. And so I lost her very suddenly. I couldn't even say bye to her. And a few hours later, I come to know it's cancer. I have cancer. And then I come to know it's one of the most aggressive forms of cancer. And I realized that, whoa, I was face to face with death. When you are there, you get an amazing clarity in life. Amazing clarity. All the garbage that we are holding in our head, it goes away. And what garbage? My own collected garbage. Feelings like anxieties, nervousness, hesitation, self-doubt, pettiness, judgment, nonsense. This is not a way to live. So I saw at that time that this is not how humans were meant to be. So one by one, I tried to shed all these things. And when I began to shed this, space was created for beautiful other emotions, which are more uplifting. I feel, even on our worst day, I was on my worst days, you've seen my picture without hair, and I was the ugliest. I didn't know what would happen to me. I had lost one of the biggest loves of my life. But even on those days, I realized when we were made by God, we all were intended to live our most glorious life. We don't have to be kings to live kingly, because that is an attitude. And to me, this is the most powerful message that came to me from my journey.
Wow, great, Aarti. Beautiful. So there's a, I would like to end this with a few words which I have written. Let there be faith in your heart, not just in the divine, but in yourself. Let there be fire in your soul, the fire to dream, to achieve, to become. There is nothing wrong with burning bright. Draupadi did not just survive her circumstances, she transformed them. So can you. Thank you so much.